off, and we couldn't explain that, but babies have weird eyes, so like, and they make weird expressions, and so, you know, all of these things, part of the issue is that she was young, and babies are different. And they breathe different, they look different, all of that. And so it was hard to explain everything and to show it. And so then during the visit to the hospital, we did tests on her GI tract and her esophagus and her lungs.
We did an EKG.
No, that was the next one.
Okay.
So that was, they did biopsies, and it was where they used anesthesia to put her under, and they tested everything, and everything came back normal. And our GI doctor who performed the GI section of the test was like, this kid does not have acid reflux. There's no sign of acid reflux. So he called for a study that's considered the gold standard, where you put a scope down through the nose, and every time that she would have an episode, I would click a button, and it would record everything. And that test ended up coming back that she absolutely did not have acid reflux. Like, there was
the
no
acid reflux was not causing the
laryngospasms, and she had
almost
it was not, she did not have an abnormal amount of acid reflux for a baby her age. And so she ended up having another episode where she another significant one where she went cyanotic, so turned very blue. And at that point we had been told, like, if she turns blue, you need to take her in, because we had been ignoring these things due to how we had been treated before when we brought her in. And so, and being told to ignore it. And so we brought her in. They did an EEG to see if it was seizures
or something like it.
Yep. And that came back normal. They did. They also then did we had done a sleep study before this as well, and that's where we found out that she actually woke up 27 times, but they weren't significant. They wouldn't be classified as apnea episodes necessarily, because it wasn't sustained long enough to be an apnea episode when we did that testing. But she did have 27 wakings, which, as a person in the room with her, I could tell you that was because she was not breathing. But the machines weren't set up to detect what she had. And so we then, so fast forward, then they did the essentially a sleep study again, except they just did the breathing portion. And that time I ran out of the hospital room to get a nurse when she had an episode, and that nurse came in and then saw it. And that was a huge changing point for us in all of this, because the nurse saw it, and she was supposed to be testing for it. And so she basically sat in the room all night and recorded episode after episode after episode, because she noticed that the machine did not pick up what she was seeing with her own eyes and what she was reading on the monitor in the room, on the pulse oximeter in the room. And she was watching these decreases into the 70s happen over and over and over again at night, where the machine was not set up to pick up that if it wasn't a sustained period of time. And so she had a very normal night of sleep. And she didn't have a major episode, but she did have lots of minor episodes. And so this nurse told the pulmonologist that, that the machine wasn't picking it up, but she recorded it all, and that was kind of disregarded by the doctor.
Yeah, we were expecting her to come in and to like make a new breakthrough, and
believe us.
And she came in and said, well, the test came back and everything is normal. And it just really caught us by surprise because it wasn't normal, and that was not the nurse's reaction that night that it was normal. And then for the pulmonologist to come in and say there's nothing wrong with your kid after the night that we had just gone through, it was disheartening.
When the doctor came in and told us, like, your baby's perfectly fine, we don't know why you're here.
This is the pulmonologist?
Yes. And the ENT. They came in and basically were like, your baby's healthy, we don't know why you're here, go home. I said I won't go home until we see a neurologist and genetics. And
we had been talking with our pediatrician too, because we were frustrated well before this meeting, and we were talking about going to Mayo and getting a better diagnostics team because we just
clearly it wasn't working.
It was not. It wasn't acid reflux, but that was all that anyone could say that it was, and so we were getting frustrated, and so we asked for neurology and genetics.
And genetics, yeah. And so, and our pediatrician, he's phenomenal. And he was on the phone with me every single day in the hospital to make sure that like things were moving forward, and that, and when he found out we were getting discharged, he called me and was just furious. And he's like, you can pack up and drive to Mayo, and I will, try to get you into Mayo. And, kind of coming up with some ideas. And I told him that as long as, they are letting us see genetics, so I'm okay leaving as long as we get a genetic panels done and we see a neurologist. And then we started like the process for the being seen by the diagnostic team at Mayo.
Yeah.
And so he started the paperwork for that. We met with the genetics team and the neurologist. And we just happened, the neurologist that was rounding happened to be the neurologist we had an appointment with 2 weeks after this hospitalization.
And at the time on that visit, we were starting to look into what else could it be, because we were frustrated and everything else. And you had thought it's a genetic thing related to some other stuff that goes on in your family. And I thought that it was focal seizures, localized seizures, so not full body seizures, but just like something specific to her vocal cord. We both were kind of told, no, it's not that, you're crazy.
Well, and I thought it was a neurotransmitter issue.
Yeah.
And so we were both kind of like, that's probably not it. But
doctors, what do we know?
Yeah, we were like, I don't know, but like, we're trying to think outside the box.
Yep.
And because clearly what's in the box is not what it is. And just having that nurse recording everything gave me a lot of confidence that I did not have before that. And in the hospital. And so we ended up doing the blood draw and everything. We went home. We went 2 weeks later to this neurologist, and she was like, I can't stop thinking about IV. She's like, I have no idea what it is, but I think, like, have you thought about going to Mayo? And we're like, funny enough, yeah. we're in the process of applying. And then during that appointment, which was a pretty long appointment, we were talking, and she's like, is there anything else? Like, is there anything that's different about Ivy? And we were like, her eye thing. And she's like, what do you mean her eye thing? And we're like, it's hard to explain, but her eyes kind of like get stuck. But we can show you. And so Ivy was like trying to grab a pen because she loves to draw. And so she's trying to, on everything. And so she's trying to grab this pen. And so Dylan just was like, no, you can't have it. And so as every 11-month-old, Ivy starts throwing a fit. And then her eyes just get stuck shut. And her hands got stuck. And she can't like open them. So she'll be like trying to open her eyes, open her hands, and she can't. And then she stops crying and her eyes stay shut and then slowly open. And the neurologist just she paused.
Has like an epiphany moment kind of thing.
And she goes, I have no idea how it relates to the breathing or pooping, but I know what that is. That is dystonia eyes. And she's like, that's a neurological issue. And so a neuromuscular issue. And so she is like, I need to go research into this because this doesn't make sense with her other symptoms. But if she has that, we're probably on the right track.